That awkward pause made this last chorus impactful as hell. I wasn't sure where they were going to go with that. I was like, is that the ending? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lone University. Society is from Pennywise's fourth studio album, Full Circle, released in 1997. I've only heard 2 Pennywise tracks so far, and I already quickly appreciate their heavier thrash metal type of take on punk rock, which is something that made me feel right at home as somebody who grew up worshiping the big four of thrash. But this track was tied in second place last month over on Patreon alongside NoFX from votes from our Patreon community. So make sure to come join up if you want to be a part of helping decide what songs I do here on the channel. I want to shout out CJ Lobedo and Rusty Shackelford for requesting this one. But once again, this was the first album to feature bassist Randy Bradbury, who joined after the unfortunate passing of founding bassist Jason Thirsk, who I first heard on the original Bro Hymn track here on the channel last month. And I swear to God, that crowd chant in that song was stuck in my head easily a month, maybe longer. So catchy, and I know I need to hear the tribute version that's actually on this album. But as for today, we're checking out Society. Here's my first time hearing it from Pennywise. Ooh, crunchy. Okay. We all know there's something wrong. This is that type of bass intro and riff cadence that has the melodic feel. I know I talked about this last time in the Bro Hymn video. I've mentioned this a lot, but just sometimes there's a cadence and a bass line and a riff that feels very vocal-like to me. Something you can sing. I think that was the whole cornerstone of the Bro Hymn thing. But when I hear a bass line and a riff like this, I just hear the da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da. You know, it's just got that poppier catchiness to it. But when they drive it with more subdivision, it makes it heavier and falls more into their thrash type of sound. You know, speaking of metal and such, you know, this almost has like that early Pantera type of drum production, drum and bass production. It's just got that beefy weight. It almost sounds like slapstick. It's just got this very sharp punchiness to it. It's very immediate coming out of the intro. Listen to it again, just the drum production. Just got that slappy, just like a clap. Just, I don't know how else to describe it. And I'm curious what bass is being used here. The bass tone almost has that chainsaw type of treble on it. It just cuts. And I know it's soloed here just with the drums by itself, but I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably a P bass or jazz. I don't know. All right, what are we playing here? One more time. I just love the tone. These two together sound really good. And I like how those hits kind of support what I was saying earlier. And then you have the bass back there still driving it. So they're starting to separate. Just pretty catchy stuff. Back to it. Little bass fill there. And the only reason I bring up this P bass thing is I'm going to confess something here that has changed a lot since you guys got me into punk rock. I used to hate P basses. I didn't understand the hype behind them. I didn't like the way they sounded. I never reached for it. And this was actually the first bass I ever owned. The pickups kind of dry rotted and it sat collecting dust for easily 15 years. Hearing punk rock has made me really appreciate the tone again. I think I just heard too much of that fusion-y jazz thumpiness, and punk rock has made me love that gritty P-bass side of things. And I find myself grabbing this more for videos now. You guys have converted me back to being a P-bass lover. I'm thinking about buying another one. I really like the way they sound. I just didn't think they were versatile for a long time. And hearing tones like this, and even if this isn't truly a P-bass, it sounds like it to me, but there's just a lot of other tracks where I know they're being used. I'm like, this thing is a lot more versatile than I used to give it credit for. I was so into playing boutique basses and lots of mid-range and, thinner, punchier tones, and I'm kind of coming full circle. Here we go. Just had to say that. It was time. Right there. All right. Tight. Palm muted. Got quick on the drums. Hell yeah. Really fast picking there. Again, I hear other punk bands play this fast. Very vocal about that. My love for Propaganda, No Effects. No Effects plays really fast, but it's something about Pennywise, their production or choice of tones. It just reminds me more of thrash metal than any other punk band I've really heard so far. And production, tone choices plays a huge part into that. Propaganda is just as technical, but it reminds me more of the progressive metal bands I kind of liked, like Between the Buried Me and stuff like that. Protest the Hero. So this feels like more of those classic big, a little scooped. Even the drums are a bit scooped. Some of the toms, or just the whole thing kind of has that thrashier production. And I loved that sound growing up. So Pennywise is a band I could see myself really getting into and just liking for those reasons. But damn, they played really fast here. And not sure if the bass is doubling it. Just kind of a big power wash. Dig it. All right, next verse. Think you're going with the flow, but you never really know. Society, all the leaders in the game and it's making you insane. Society, get up out of the blood, you're back up on the rise. There's some movement happening in this pre-chorus, just bass straying away from this main riff. Just nice pentatonic stuff. You can hear it, and it doesn't cut through quite as much, but it's tastily placed. See. That was kind of a cool one. So it's almost like a permutation of the riff, just an octave up, moving some notes around. So it feels natural. Makes no difference today when the society devises how you'll pay. And finding the truth makes no difference to you. Any way you look at it, you're gonna get screwed. You lose. Cool. Bass sounds, let me compare that to the intro. I know it's the intro riff, but it sounds a bit cleaner. Maybe it's just the guitars ringing out. Let's compare that to where we were. Maybe he's not digging in quite as much. Or maybe it is the same. It almost sounded like it had a bit of chorus on it coming out of that. Maybe it was the guitar chord hanging over it. A very simple song structure. I've heard this song structure a lot. Bass starts the song. It is the backbone. Everyone else joins in. And then we return to it for the bridge. It's that classic reprise of familiarity from where the song started. It all just makes the song feel very natural, flow very well, great pacing. Let's see where this goes. Wrap it up.
Something wrong, and we've known it all along. Sincerity. You may think there's no one else till they put you on a shelf.
That's kind of cool. Hey. That awkward pause made this last chorus impactful as hell. I wasn't sure where they were going to go with that. I was like, is that the ending? Is it about to fade out? And I had a bit of time to hear that tone by itself, and it just has so many classic attributes to it. I feel like it was just your typical Ampeg, tube amp, tube saturation, SVT sound, really nice compressors. You can just kind of hear the way the pick attack and the note, just the way the notes kind of blossom, but it still has that punchy evenness. And a bit of that chainsaw characteristic, and you can almost kind of hear the down picking behind it. And that's something I don't talk about a lot. Whether you alternate pick something or whether you down pick something can completely change the articulation of a riff. And I don't know if it matters so much for bass in this sense, but you can really hear those nuances when it's by itself here.
We all know there's something wrong, and we've known it all along. Sincerity.
Has a nice warmness to it as well.
You may think there's no one else till they put you on a shelf.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but verses. Down pick. So I can kind of hear what he's doing there. Yeah, just a cool little dynamic thing right here. Really dig that. If they play this live, I imagine they hold that out even longer. And I love the way it swells in.
They put you on a shelf.
Pick straight. Really make you wait for it. Dig it. Well, another fun listen. Another great song just driven by the bass. This song structure is very unique to this scene, and having not been a part of it for so long, I just don't hear this a lot outside of it. Bass starts the song. Riff is really married to the bass. Bass pokes out every now and then to let you know that the entire song was built around it. It just reprises that familiarity, as I said. And what I appreciated most about this one is it had the same type of cadence as I think the Newfound Glory song I did. And the only comparison I'm making here is that it's an eighth note driven bass line, and the note placement is the melody. The straight eighth notes is not the melody. So it's like what I was saying earlier. When you take away the da 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 straight eighth notes, you just get that ba ba da ba da ba da 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 da. So it has that melody kind of built in, and then the eighth notes from the bass line just kind of fill it out and make it more of a groove or a bass line. So I just love that style of writing where it doesn't rely on rhythms. The ordering of the notes can make it catchy, and then everything was built on that throughout this song. Out of a lot of the bands I reviewed, I feel like Pennywise is one I really need to see live. It has that lively feel. It's something about their vocals. I kind of feel like I'm there. It almost has like kind of a live audience mix. Just big. Like you want to sing along. I know I said that about Bro Hymn, but those same vocal characteristics carried on to this one. I'm really trying to go see some of these Punk in the Park shows. I think seeing a punk show is really important for me to be doing at this point, considering all the bands I've covered. And if I don't make those, I'm going to try to see Less Than Jake in Dallas. There's just so many popping up this year. I've got to make something. So if I end up at one of them, please come say hello. I'll definitely post about it if I make it happen. But nonetheless, That's been Society by Pennywise. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. If you'd like to support the channel further, put your name in the hat, request your favorite song, be a part of all this, come find us over on patreon.com/loneuniversity. I do full albums there. We've done a lot so far. I have bass lessons, music theory lessons, tons of stuff. And if you enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.